Good morning, Boston. What's happening? I want to thank everybody for coming this morning, the fans, the media. Before we get going here, where's this thing? We had a contest. The UFC put on this contest for the fans to do a Conor McGregor poster. And we got tons of submissions from all over the world. It was cool. And we have the winner right here. And go ahead, why don't you rip that thing off there, Conor? So we sent a bunch of posters out to all the Irish bars all over Ireland, Dublin, and here in Boston and other parts of the city that are big Irish communities. And this is the guy who won the one. His name is Paul DeCillo. He's from New York City, and he wins $2,500. Who's got the first question? Raise your hand. They'll bring the microphone over to you. Kevin?
Thank you. Question for Shogun. It's been 4 years since you've had back-to-back wins in the UFC, and I was wondering if you can talk about the inconsistency and if you have any reason why you haven't been able to string together some victories.
Ele disse que faz 4 anos que tu luta no UFC e tu tem uma carreira inconstante com vitórias e derrotas. O que tu poderia falar sobre isso?
Eu sempre luto com os melhores, desde quando eu comecei a lutar MMA. Eu sempre lutei com os melhores, com os tops, então realmente eu treino muito para me vencer as lutas e é isso que eu faço hoje. Meu foco é vencer sempre minhas lutas.
I think part of that is because I'm always fighting with the best ones in the world. Since I started my career, I always fight and face the top guys, and I'm always training to do my best there. I always looking for the victory.
And do you feel at all like you feel the toll from all the years of fighting against very tough guys that has taken on your body? Is there anything that you're limited in doing because of that?
Ele perguntou se por todo esse tempo tu ter lutado lutas duras com caras difíceis, se tu acha que teu corpo está sentindo isso, tem alguma coisa que hoje tu tem limitação de fazer?
Não, meu treino, o que eu faço hoje eu fazia há 10 anos atrás e o MMA realmente muda. O esporte evolui, então eu tento buscar essa evolução também como atleta.
Today I'm still doing everything that I was able to do when I start. The sport grows a lot, and I'm trying to follow the evolution of the sport and evolve as a fighter as well.
Hey guys, Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. Thanks for the time. Another question for Shogun Rua. Shogun, your opponent, Chael Sonnen, is known for his spectacular trash talking, and besides some poetry, he's been relatively quiet. Are you surprised he hasn't done more trash talking going into this fight?
O Chael Sonnen é muito famoso pelo jeito dele de falar, do trash talk. Apesar de ele ter feito o poema para ti, te surpreendeu que ele não falou muita bobagem sobre tu?
Não, o Sonnen sempre mostrou um respeito comigo, mesmo antes de marcar essa luta, e ele sempre me respeitou, e ele falando bem de mim ou mal, para mim isso não muda nada. Eu sou profissional, sou um cara experiente, e minha vontade de vencer é maior do que qualquer coisa que ele pode dizer, mas ele me respeitou até agora, então, com certeza, fiquei feliz, mas isso não muda nada.
No, that didn't surprise me, because Sonnen always respected me since the beginning of my career, since before we fight. He always showed me a lot of respect. And even if he start talking, that's not going to change anything. My desire for the victory and for the win will be the same. I'm an experienced fighter, and that doesn't change my mind.
And one more follow-up for Shogun. If you do get by Chael Sonnen, where do you feel that puts you in the division?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
In the rankings, the light heavyweight.
He's like, where would this fight put him? Where will this fight take him if he wins this fight?
Rank number 8.
Se tu ganhar essa luta, onde tu acha que tu vai estar dentro da divisão?
Eu encaro essa luta com o Sonnen é uma luta que eu quero muito vencer, e o meu grande sonho é conquistar o segundo UFC, então eu sei que para mim ter essa chance eu tenho que passar pelo Sonnen, então com certeza o meu foco hoje é 100% o Sonnen, e meu objetivo hoje é vencê-lo para no futuro poder conquistar o cinturão, que é a consequência das minhas vitórias, isso.
My main goal today is get back to the belt, to the title shot, and I think this victory over Sonnen will be the first step. Right now, I'm really focused on this fight and really focused on getting back on the track. I think my opportunity for the title shot will be the result of my fight, so that will be the first one.
Thank you.
Max, please. Max, I know in the build-up to this fight, you've been pretty much okay with everything, all the attention that's been placed on your opponent. But I'm just wondering, now that it's fight week, you know, Conor has his own media day, a poster up here, you know, of him with this contest. I mean, is there any part of you that's kind of starting to get a little annoyed with this and feel like maybe you're being overlooked?
You know, not at all. You know, it is what it is. He got hype, man, and I just can't wait to Saturday night. We get to mix it up.
Does it add anything to you, though? I mean, would it make it a little more sweeter to be able to beat a guy that you know has been given so much attention?
Yeah, you know, definitely. You know, he got a lot of hype, and it would be good to get a W. You know, exciting W, and it's just a great fight for me right now.
And for Conor, I know you're not afraid of the attention, you're not afraid of the spotlight, but I feel like there's been so much given to you. If you don't go out there and win this thing in like 25 seconds, you're going to somehow not have done what you were supposed to do. So what's your take on all the attention that you've gotten this week? And is it, you know, difficult for you to try to live up to the expectations?
I don't really care about what people say, hype, good or bad, you know. When the door shuts, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go at my opponent, and we're going to exchange. And that's it, you know. The result is not in my thoughts. I'm just going to go out and perform and do what I do day in, day out, and have fun, you know. I'm living the dream right now, so I'm a happy man.
Dana, if I could get your take, I mean, young guy, so much attention to him paid right off the bat. I mean, is there any danger in giving that much attention to somebody so quick, so early in their career?
Well, it happened. I mean, when I went to Ireland for that Trinity College thing, all I heard about was Conor McGregor. I'd never heard of the kid before. And, you know, I went out there, and there was a ton of hype behind him before he even got here. And this is a big fight with two badass up-and-coming guys. This is going to be a great fight.
And just finally, Michael Johnson, if I could please, Michael, we all know how popular Joe is here in his hometown. You get a call to make that fight. Do you have any second thoughts? Like, am I the guy that's being brought in to put on a show for the hometown?
Absolutely no second thoughts. The first thought was I'm excited to get this fight. You know, I wanted to fight Joe for a long time, and now finally getting this in his backyard, you know, is great for me. We're definitely going to go out there and put on a fight, and it's just, I mean, no pressures on me. You know, he's expected to come in here and run right through me, but it's going to be a little bit different Saturday night. You know, I haven't been sitting on the couch watching TV for the past 3 months. You know, I've been in the gym working my ass off. And, you know, this is a huge fight for me, so, you know, it's all or nothing.
And the back-to-back losses, I mean, obviously the difficult coming off that. Do you let that think about that at all? Like, hey, could this be my UFC life right here, or do you let that factor into it?
It doesn't factor into it at all, man. Those losses are right out of the window as soon as they happen. You know, the thought is, you know, going into this fight with Joe, there's no thought about those last 2 fights. You know, they're over and done with, and he's in front of me, and that's what I got to do.
Chael, can I get your thoughts on 3 cliches in the fight world?
Yep.
First, never leave it in the hands of the judges.
Well, I mean, it's good advice. We're out there trying to finish matches. I'm a wrestler, and you're always looking to pin the guy, which means to put his shoulders to the mat. You know, that's the best thing that you can do. The judges are very good, and we all love to gripe because that's fun. It's fun to talk about that as an analyst or as a fan, but the reality is when people are judging people, it's never fair. It's not fair in rodeo, it's not fair in gymnastics, and we've got problems in this sport. The judges are competent. I personally like to fight for a long time. I like to go home and see myself on TV, and so does the rest of the world. So I'm not in any big hurry out there. But if you can finish a fight, finish it.
And number 2, styles make fights.
Yeah, I've heard that, and there's a lot of truth to that. The real thing that makes fights is willingness. 2 guys that want to go out there and fight. I don't know what feeling out process is. I've heard boxing make that excuse for years and years, round after round. I've never seen Shogun do it. I don't even know what it is. I can promise you I'm not going to do it. The second they say fight, we will.
And finally, if you punch a black belt in the face once, he becomes a brown belt. You punch him again, he becomes a purple belt, etc.
You know, that was coined by a gentleman who deserves respect. His name is Rickson Gracie, and I'm not going to argue about what he said. I think it's probably a true statement. I've heard Roger Gracie say the same thing.
Question for Max. Have you had a chance to study Conor, and do you think he is deserving of all the attention that he has received?
Yeah, we had a chance, watch a couple of his fights, and I think he deserved it. He came inside the UFC a big way. He finishing a guy like Marcus Berman. He's on a 3-win streak, and I think he deserves all the hype. He's the first guy from Ireland. I think he deserves it.
And for Conor, you right over here, you have been you've been very stoic there with the sunglasses, kind of just looking ahead, not really reacting to much. What's going through your mind right now?
Not much, There's two things I really like to do, and that's whoop ass and look good. And I'm doing one of them right now. On Saturday night, I'm gonna do the other.
And you've been here for a couple of days now, and you had the media day, and I'm sure you've run into a lot of people during your time in Boston. A lot of people were curious as to how the fans, and we'll get a better sense of this on Saturday, but thus far, how have they received you here in Boston?
I honestly feel at home here. You know what I mean? I can't go anywhere without seeing an Irish flag. And I had that media day in Peter Welch's gym, and I was in taking a shower, and a guy came in from a little Irish town called Connemara, and it's a town where they speak our native tongue, Gaelic. And he came in and started speaking Osquelga, and I was, here I am in the middle of Boston, and some little outfit comes into the shower room and starts speaking fluent Gaelic. I feel at home here, so I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to going out and putting on a show for these people.
And will Steve Collins be in your corner on Saturday?
I don't know. It would be something special, but I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Tune in Saturday, and you'll find out.
All right. And then one more for Chael. Obviously, this is a big deal, not just for the sport, but for the network you work for, Fox Sports 1. A lot of people, trying to find the channel. A lot of build up to this fight on many different levels, unique, not what you usually see leading up to a fight. Why, at the end of the day, should people watch not only your fight, but the entire card on Saturday on Fox Sports 1?
Why should they watch on Saturday? Well, that's when the fight is. If you try to watch it Friday, you're going to look like a doofus. And if you tune in on Sunday, you're going to look like a Johnny-come-lately. That's why we're doing this whole promotion, because the fight is on Saturday. So that's when they should watch it. We will be in 93 million homes. This fight has the opportunity to be the highest watched combat of all time. Bigger opportunity than was ever given to Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, all the guys that have come before us in this sport. Bigger than wrestling, boxing, anything. Check the numbers on Monday. The current record is 6.8 million. We're in 93 million homes, and every one of those guys has a friend, a daughter, a son, a wife, husband, somebody they can watch it with, which brings us to 186 million potential viewers, and that's just if I'm giving them one friend. We only have to break 6.8 million, and for your answer, this channel will be on your current speed channel on Saturday. If you have speed today, that will become FS1. Tune in. 5 hours of fighting. Forget the main card, forget the main event. We got 5 hours of fighting. UFC is coming to America's new network, Fox Sports 1, where we will cover everything athletically that matters, even football.
Thank you, Chael. And one last one for Michael Johnson. As of late, the Black Zillions have been on a bit of a winning streak with some impressive wins over the last couple weeks, and it was a hot topic to discuss the losing streak just a few months ago. Have you noticed that less people are talking about the winning streak, and is there good vibes in the gym? Are you noticing that guys are a lot more motivated and spirits are maybe higher than just a few months back when maybe the team was in a rut?
Yeah, there's great vibes in the gym. Everybody's going to look at something bad and point it out. Nobody wants to give credit when credit's due or point out the good things that people do. And, with every great team, there's ups and downs. And we were just one of those teams that were in a slump. And now, we're getting our wins back on at World Series. Sorry if I shouted those out. But, we had some guys that got some win on there. Rashad just had a big win. So, Vitor's been winning. So, we're back on our streak and things are rolling. Losses come and go. It's just how you bounce back from them, and we're ready to keep this streak going.
And question for Dana. I think I just read a headline this morning. I think it was from an MMA fighting, possibly an aerial video, but I think you compared Conor McGregor's debut to Brock Lesnar's in terms of the amount of attention that it had gotten. Did I?
Well, I don't know if I said that. I mean,
it seemed a little bit.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I had a couple beers last night over at that place we were at hanging out, so I don't know if I exactly said that, but yeah, there's been a lot of hype for this kid. When I was in Europe, everybody knew him. Everybody was talking about him. And
how do you measure that? Like the amount of hype, is it about tweets? Is it about people asking you? Is it a combination?
Yeah, I mean, when a lot of people are asking me about one guy that I've never heard of, I'm curious. And when I was there, I thought he was a heavyweight. The people were talking to me about him in Ireland and England. I thought he was a heavyweight. And then when I met him, the kid's a tough kid. He's a tough kid, great personality. A lot of people like him. Like Max said, this is the first kid out of Ireland since like Wayne McCullough and Stevie Collins, guys like that.
And speaking of heavyweights, you have Kane JDS 3 a couple months from now. You got Roy Nelson, you got DC. Josh Barnett comes back to the promotion at the end of this month for Fabricio Verdum. Where do these guys fit in the heavyweight picture?
Yeah, no, this is a big fight in the heavyweight division between both these guys. I mean, obviously, Alistair Overeem's been a guy in the division for a long time, and Travis Brown. This is a big opportunity, opportunity for Alistair to get back on track toward the heavyweight division, and a big opportunity for him to derail Alistair Overeem and start getting the respect he deserves.
Could one of these guys get a title shot with an impressive performance?
I hate these questions.
Anyway.
They got to fight on Saturday, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Evelyn Rodriguez from Globo Sport. I'm going to ask Yuri. I'm going to ask in Portuguese, sorry. Yuri, você pode falar um pouquinho sobre a questão do seu peso, se você está tendo dificuldade para bater o peso, enfim, como é que tá?
Não estou bem. Faltam 4 quilos só. Estou tranquilo, estou concentradíssimo e vou bater o peso amanhã.
Shogun's guy, would you? Yeah, thanks.
So she asked about Yuri's weight, how far he is to make weight. So he said that he's fine, he's calm, and he's about 8 pounds away to make weight.
Thanks.
It's Karen. I have a question for you, Chael, kind of continuing on the weight theme. How are you feeling at 205? You've been kind of going back and forth between 185 and 205, and I'm just kind of curious how this fight either helps or hurts you at this weight.
Well, 185 is a tremendous nuisance. I've got 10 pounds to go to get to light heavyweight. If I was at 185, I would have 30 pounds to go. So I would rather not cut weight, but, there are certain fights that I want, and there are weight classes and there's regulations. So I got to abide by those things. I love to fight at light heavyweight. I started in 1997. We didn't even have the good fortune of weight classes back then. So 205 is just fine, and I've got a moral obligation to beat up a lot of guys that I haven't got to yet, and I will go to whatever weight I need to.
Thank you. And Dana, if you could just clear up, we're happy. I have Dish TV at home, and we called up and complained that we weren't even going to get the channel that I work for. So how did the deal come together last minute? And just, if you could talk about the relief of getting these deals done.
Yeah, so, they've been doing these negotiations, and we knew it happened a lot sooner than I thought it would. I thought it might roll right up to Saturday before the fight started. That's the way these negotiations go. They're never easy. But like I said, every time I got asked about this, there were things popping up all over Twitter and the internet. This isn't going to happen. It's not going to be here. It's not going to be there. This is what Fox does. They're the biggest media company in the world. They're going to get it done. And they got it done last night, which was a lot sooner than I thought they would.
And so the specifics on
even
how...
in the UK,
Yeah.
I've been hearing all the stuff from the guys in the UK about BT. Well, they got the Virgin deal done this morning, too. So that's another 3 million homes in the UK, too.
Cool. So all told here in the States, though, about how many homes does that equal?
Total between the two?
Well, here in the States, so it's
93 million homes.
93 million,
yeah.
right. All right.
Yep.
Hey, this question's for Joe. I think, Joe, at this point in your career, people are expecting you to win another bonus to be exciting. Do you need to temper those expectations to be able to focus and fight your game and not get reckless?
I don't go out with expectations of getting bonuses. I don't know how to fight any other way. I try to go out and even having grappling tournaments as a 16-year-old kid. I felt like if I was in any position for 2 seconds, it was an eternity. And fighting is the same way. I just constantly attack, constantly move forward, and the bonuses just come.
And Dana, just your thoughts on Joe, what he brings to the company, and do you think he's one of the most exciting fighters on the planet right now?
Yeah, I've said it. I've been saying this now for 2 weeks. Everybody keeps asking me about Joe, especially since I've been here. You know, the guy's won. I can't remember if he's won more, Silva's won more. He's neck and neck. And, you know, it's just, that says it all. I mean, all you have to know is how many Fight of the Night bonuses the kid has won. And if you've never seen Joe Lauzon fight, you get a good idea. You know, he's a great guy, smart guy, great ambassador for the sport, and he goes out and does it.
Chris Connor with MMA Hour and 1510 Zone. First question to Uriah Faber. Uriah, you've headlined pay-per-views. You've usually been a star on cards. For this fight, you're almost, I don't want to say it, but an afterthought with Overeem, Shogun Rua, Sonnen, Brown. How do you prepare for a guy like Yuri Alcantara when you know that the 145-pound, 135-pound titles right now you're chasing are sort of on hold?
You know, you have to look at every fight individually, and for me, Yuri is super dangerous. If you look at his record, you know, compared to the rest of the 35-pounders out there, he's probably has the most finishes, I think, and the most diverse game. So, you know, danger is my motivation for this one. It's not about, you know, whether the fans know or anything else. I'm going to be fighting this guy. He's a dangerous guy, and that always gets me, you know, alert and heightened and ready to do battle. So I love fights like this. This is the type of fight that you always want, someone where you're tested and you have to bring out your best game or you're going to get hurt. And he's got to think the same.
Last question to Travis Brown. Travis, you've been in there with taller guys, wrestlers. You're not taking on probably the most dangerous striker that you've ever faced. How do you prepare for a fight like this against a guy you know with one punch can literally take you out?
I think you just described everybody in the heavyweight division because all of us hit hard. We're all big boys. The first one to land a big shot in the heavyweight division is usually the winner. He does bring a certain set of skills to the table that you have to be aware of, but this is an MMA fight, so it can go anywhere at any time. And you know, I just look forward to competing against Alistair and to coming out on top come Saturday.
Dana, this question is for you. It's in two parts. First, John Howard is the other boxer on the card, but he is noticeably absent today. Is there a reason he's not here for his hometown fight at the press conference?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those rare cards that I could have, you know, tried to make this table a lot longer and brought everybody in here. It's a stacked card from the first fight to the last fight, so there's only so many guys you can really bring to the press conference.
Second part of the question is I interviewed Councilman Murphy yesterday on 1510 AM, and he said that he did wish the event well for the city of Boston.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he did, yeah.
And what are kind of your thoughts on that after, obviously, the hearings?
That's nice of him. He's been really good to us since we've been here, so I appreciate it. I also heard an interview last night with him where he said, you know, I was making these cockamamie statements like he knew anything about the Las Vegas Culinary Union. He's lying. He's a typical lying politician is what he is. At that hearing he had, there were 25 members of the union there. Coincidence? He didn't know any of them. He hadn't heard the story about the Fertitta brothers and Station Casinos. It's crazy, man. It's when I come back east and have to deal with these blatant lying politicians, it's unbelievable. The same stuff we're going through in New York. Everybody knows why we're not in New York, and it's one guy who's making it happen. And everybody knows what's going on with this Murphy guy. This Murphy guy is with the union, and he's trying to make this 18 and under, like 18 and under can't come to a UFC event. Social Security, all the things that we've had to go through. Chael not getting licensed, but he's licensed in every other state in the country and in other countries. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Dana, you said back in Trinity that when you first came to Ireland in 2009, there was going to be an explosion, and 3 years later you signed Conor McGregor. Now that you have a load of fans telling you about European champions like Cathal Pendred and Neil Seery, are you more inclined to listen to them after the impact McGregor has had in the UFC?
Well, I hear about people every day, man. I mean, I get coaches and friends and all this other stuff telling me about this guy's great, this guy's going to be the next world champion, this guy's going to be this. You know, Conor McGregor, all the things that I said about Conor McGregor are true, but, you know, this is Conor McGregor's second fight in the UFC. We still got some work to do.
the TV deal for us in Ireland and in the UK has been sorted, and you said that was the main block about bringing a card back to Dublin. What is the sort of timeline for that now? We think maybe that if Conor wins the weekend, you might try get him on Manchester or even hold off till early 14 for Dublin.
No, yeah, you're right, and I'm happy that this, this BT. I know in the beginning when change is always hard. We've been working so hard on this deal in the UK, and it's finally coming together now. This whole thing's coming together. Our plan is coming together out there, and yeah, now that we got Virgin, and we're going to be doing a lot more fights out in the UK. It's going to change the landscape of everything out there, and all the people that are, there's still people that are complaining out there. Well, we got to pay for BT. Welcome to the rest of the world, UK. The United States has to pay for fights too. I mean, that's the way this thing works. The difference in television deals is you guys had this channel that we were on before where programming was on at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now with this new BT deal, these guys are actually, they invested in the sport, they invested in this brand. They're going to be pumping out tons of amazing content on that channel. It's going to be so much better for you guys in the UK.
It's still a little bit better than over here because we only have to pay €20 a month as opposed to pay-per-views.
Exactly.
But just finally, one thing for Conor. A lot of fighters this week have been big fans of you, and they're telling us how much they're looking forward to seeing you fight. Are there any fighters in the UFC in particular that you're a fan of and you can't wait to see fight?
Yeah, I'm a fan of a lot of these guys. There's about 300 guys on the roster. I mean, but in all honesty, there's about 200 rookies in my eyes, and no matter what anyone says, whether they're a fighter, whether they're a fan, whether they're anything, nothing changes for me. I'm going to enter the contest open. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to go forward. I don't care what people say, good or bad, and the support is always great, and I'm happy to get it. But I'm just here doing my thing, you know what I mean? And nothing else comes into the equation.
Dana, Garrett Quinn, Reason Magazine. This is for Dana White. You've been pretty critical of Boston as far as a host for UFC fights. How much of that sentiment is related to the issues with the culinary union?
100%. 100%. I've never been critical of this town. I love this town. It's always fun for me to come back here and exciting. I got lots of friends here. It's one of the greatest cities in the world to hang out and whether it's sightseeing, eating, or whatever else it might be, it's a great city. But all I've been talking about and what I've been critical of is this culinary union bullshit that's going on since the day this fight was announced. It's like, first of all, anybody who's here from Boston, and I don't want to sound like I'm dogging the other sports or anything, but for them to try to impose this 18 and under and all the other things, I'm sure a few people here have been to a Red Sox game before, right? Red Sox versus the Yankees. You ever seen what goes on at a Red Sox-Yankee game? That stuff doesn't happen at UFC fights, right? The Aaron Hernandez thing that just happened, Chael Sonnen said some mean things to somebody before he fought him. This is the fight business. That's how it works. So what, does Boston never want to have a boxing event here either? There aren't too many big, major combat sports events that come to the city. We're it. And, because of what makes me sick about the whole thing is this isn't about Boston. This isn't about the sport of mixed martial arts. This isn't about the UFC. This is about a battle that's going on in Las Vegas between the Las Vegas Culinary Union and Station Casinos. And because these unions are so strong back here on the East Coast, the fact that a Las Vegas problem could then become a Boston problem is just, it's wrong.
After, I know you mentioned New York earlier. After Boston and New York, is there anywhere else where you've really encountered this much resistance?
Never. We've never had anything like this. Yeah. The unions are nasty, man. These guys are dirty. They don't care. There's this attack going on. They're attacking us, and it's just so. If you look at all these other sports, for instance, I'll tell you this: the Social Security problem we had. Like, guys coming from foreign countries have to have Social Security numbers. If they had Social Security numbers, they'd be American citizens, wouldn't they? I mean, it really makes no sense. Hockey players are from Canada, Russia, and many other countries. They're baseball players from Dominican, Puerto Rico, and other countries. They play baseball here, but our guys come in from other countries and they have to jump through all these hoops and have Social Security numbers and all this crazy shit. It just makes no sense.
Question for Joe, straight ahead. A lot of talk has been about the bonuses and whatnot, especially how you're at the top of the leaderboard heading into this fight. But according to Fight Metric, and I want to get this right, you currently have 8 submissions. If you have one more, you'll have the most in lightweight history. And if you get any kind of finish on Saturday, you'll pass BJ Penn for the most finishes in the 155-pound division. Did you know that?
I had no idea, but I'm hoping not to, piss off BJ too bad, my boy. But no, I didn't know that. I honestly, I don't even keep track of what I have for bonus. I know the number's 12, but I couldn't tell you how many were fight of the night, how many were submission. I got a lot of them, and I'm gonna get another one on Saturday.
And then one question. A question for Alistair. We've been up here for talking to the guys for 30 minutes or so, and unless I blanked out, I don't think you've been asked one question, which is a big change from your first fight in the UFC and your second fight where you were kind of the star of the show. Have you noticed that you're kind of flying under the radar here?
And I kind of actually like it a little bit.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, I don't have to think too much. I'm just observing a little bit. Paying attention to the new rising stars. Fine for me for today.
But are you looking forward to getting back to the spotlight? Is this something that you strive, or do you want to be ignored for the foreseeable future?
I assume it's going to pick up after this fight. I expect it to pick up after this fight.
Thank you.
Ariel had to have his dick moment today. There you go. He got it in. Good job, Ariel.
No one asked him a question.
No, it was a great question.
I was actually being nice.
No, I understand.
I have a question for Max. Just wondering if you could talk us through your thought process in taking the fight on short notice.
A lot of this short notice talk, it wasn't really short notice. I had a little over a month. That's more than enough if you stay ready. You got to be ready for UFC to call you whenever. And I like to stay in shape, so it wasn't too much, and I just can't wait to fight this guy. This guy, he brings a lot of tools to the table, and I really think we have the tools to make a fight of the night, or one of us get a bonus, and that's what I plan on doing. Hopefully one of us can walk out with a bonus that night.
And how much of it was the fact you just wanted to get the bad taste of your last fight out of your mouth? A lot of people thought you won that fight, but the judges went the other direction.
Nothing really. After my last fight, I kind of pondered on it like 2 days, and then kind of got over it. And it is what it is. This sport had a lot of bad decisions before me. So there's nothing to hold my head down about it. Just can't wait to get back in there. I got a bright future at the UFC, and I can't wait to start Saturday again.
And I know in the past you fought at least one southpaw. Just wondering, if you can talk about the difficulty in preparing for his southpaw style.
Southpaw is a little different. Not too much, but he's a special fighter. He fights different from a lot of fighters. He's not a normal fighter, and southpaw, I'm not too nervous about southpaws. I got some southpaw training partners, and not really too nervous about this fight.
Question for Chael. Chael, can you evaluate where Shogun is? And you watched the Gustafsson fight, and he got taken down a lot. Does that, tell you that you should be able to take him down regularly in the fight?
I think he's awesome. He's a top 10 ranked fighter. He's a former world champion. He's a true legend in this sport, and there's not a whole bunch of them out there that are still competing today. I would never underestimate Shogun. I haven't had a big wish to fight Shogun. Little nerd said that he was going to do this fight, pulled out like he always does, coincidentally after the posters, press releases, and free marketing all got done. I'm from a different time. I'm from a time where your word meant something. I'm from a time when you sign a contract, you show up for work whether you feel like it or not. This guy called in sick like he always does 3 weeks in advance. Nobody sitting out there today could call their boss and say, hey boss, 3 weeks from now I'm not going to feel good. It can't happen. He comes out 2 days ago and says he wants to fight Shogun. Well, listen, genius, you could have fought Shogun. You could have fought him in Winnipeg when you gave your word to the fans, to the promotion, and to Shogun that you would fight him. The number one rule in show business, and you saw it here with all the hurdles that our leadership had to get through, the show must go on. Every time Little Nog or Vitor Belfort signs a contract, I go into training camp because I know an opportunity is going to open up. And that's, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I think Shogun's outstanding. He's got a ton of skills. He can definitely beat me. I can beat him too. I wouldn't go into this fight being a bully knowing that I can beat the guy. It's a very hard match. We're both coming off of very tough matches, but even Babe Ruth struck out every now and then. We both fight very tough guys, and we fight them all the time. And above all else, if we give our word that we'll show up, we will.
How surprised were you at the way the fight with Alex went down with Shogun?
Well, I wasn't surprised with Shogun, but I thought that Alex looked outstanding. Don't forget, Alexander Gustaf is the #1 contender. He's got a record of 14 wins and 1 loss. In that loss to Phil Davidson, he was taken down. So he goes out and starts training with Phil Davis. Now, all of a sudden, not only is he not getting taken down, he's taking guys down. So to give a black mark to Shogun because he lost to the #1 contender who could be world champion coming up very soon, who's 14-1, isn't fair. I'm not on board with that. I thought Gustafsson looked great. I thought Shogun looked great. But only one guy can win. Those are the rules we play by.
Question is for Shogun. Dana made reference to some of the comments that Chael has made in the past about Brazilians, about your country. On those remarks, did those bother you at the time? Do they bother you now? It doesn't seem like you show it, but what's your response to those remarks in prior fights?
Ele quer saber se os comentários que o Chael Sonnen fez no passado sobre o país e sobre outros lutadores, se isso te atrapalha, te incomoda, o que tu acha disso?
Eu acho que ele falou muito mal do Vanderlei, que o Vanderlei é muito amigo meu e do meu país, então com certeza isso é uma motivação. Mas essas coisas assim eu tento não me preocupar assim, eu tento focar nos treinos e para chegar na luta 100%. Então, com certeza isso me incomoda. Ele fala do meu país ou do Vanderlei Silva.
The only thing that bothers me is when he talks about my country and my friend Vanderlei. But I try don't get too much involved on that. I try to keep my focus on my training so I can make sure I'm going to be 100% ready for the fight.
Dana, I know a lot of the media know why, but can you explain to the fans why that you won't negotiate with the culinary union? Because you want New York, you want to come back to Boston. These guys seem to be the biggest problem. Is there ever a thought of, we'll do business, just so we can get New York and Boston, not have to worry about you guys?
It has nothing to do with me. This is a fight with Station Casinos. I have nothing to do with Station Casinos. Frank and Lorenzo own Station Casinos. That's their business, not mine. The two companies are completely separate. And why would they negotiate with these dirty, they're bad guys. The way that these guys have conducted and handled themselves, it's one thing if you want to go in, and you want to create a union, you start talking to employees and trying to get a union. These guys resort to dirty tactics, going after a company and a sport and trying to affect other people's livelihood. There's 475 guys on this on our roster that make a living for their family. There's 250 employees at Zuffa, and that's not including all the people that we hire in all the different countries and states we go to, and most of them are union members. Most of them are union people. So they're trying to affect the livelihood of all these other people to get what they want, which is Station Casinos, which would be another $10 million a year to them. $10 million a year to them. And they're spending their union members' dues to try to hurt another company or try to hurt, stop a sport from coming to a city like this or New York, and the list goes on and on. Fuck them. Yeah.
Final questions for Chael Sonnen. Chael, you've done this for a long time. We've seen Chael Sonnen perform. We've also seen you as a coach. When do you see yourself stepping away, becoming just a broadcaster and a coach and no longer a fighter?
Well, broadcasting is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of guys that can do what I do. There's a lot of guys that can watch fights and sit and talk about them. There's not a huge opportunity to get in the ring and to compete, for myself included. I'm 36 years old now. I'm very fortunate to still be competing at a high level. I'm very fortunate, in the practice room, I'm pushing just as hard as I always have, and I haven't reached my goals yet. I got a lot of goals in this sport. And one of the things that I really admire in athletes is longevity, somebody that can extend their career. And I have goals to do that. But at the same time, I got my eyes straight down. I'm not looking ahead. It's one day at a time, one workout at a time, one fight at a time. So I don't know the answers to those questions, but I can assure you I'm not slowing down. I can run 3 miles faster now than I've ran it before in the past. And I think workouts are really important. It's easy to get motivated on fight night, but it's tough to get in the gym twice a day. I never miss practice.
Is that it? You guys done? All right. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. I'm going to get these tables out of here, square these guys off. Thank you.